Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Today, our group will present the effective implementation of the reuse and recycling of construction and demolition waste management practices in Malaysia. Before we start our presentation, I would like to introduce our group members. My name is Abdul Wafi bin Omar Jimat, and my group members is Muhammad Zarfan bin Muhammad Zamri, Muhammad Alif Alauddin bin Hasran, and Muhammad Hazim Akmal bin Abdul Hadi. Moving to our first topic, which is summary. The global construction sector consumes vast resources and energy using embodied energy for material extraction and operational energy during use. Environmental concerns have prompted increased recycling of construction waste to reduce landfill use and environmental impact. Effective waste management requires stakeholder coordination and institutional support, particularly in regions like Malaysia. Now we move on to objectives. For this presentation, it got 5 objectives. The first one is assesses the current state of construction and demolition waste management practices in Malaysia. The second one is identify the primary challenges and barriers preventing the widespread adoption of sustainable waste management practices. And the third one is evaluate the economic, environmental, and social benefits associated with the reuse and recycling of construction and demolition waste. The fourth one is provide actionable insights and guidance to policymakers, industry stakeholders, and other relevant parties. And lastly is develop recommendations and strategies to overcome the identified barriers and promote the effective implementation of reuse and recycling practices for construction and demolition waste. Moving to the statement problem, the case study focuses on implementing sustainable construction waste management practices in Malaysia, aiming to identify barriers to adoption, explore economic and environmental benefits, propose overcoming strategies, and evaluate current waste management infrastructure, regulations, and stakeholder engagement in Malaysia. And now we are seeing aim of research paper. It is to research how Malaysia handles construction and demolition waste, including how it is generated, disposed of, and recycled. To identify the key obstacles preventing the common use of eco-friendly waste management in Malaysia's construction industry. To assess how well current rules and structures for managing construction waste in Malaysia work and find areas that need to be better. To evaluate the financial, ecological, and societal advantages of reusing and recycling building waste in Malaysia. To look at successful examples from other places that have effectively reused and recycled construction waste. To create useful suggestions and plans to tackle the found obstacles and encourage the successful use of reuse and recycling for construction waste in Malaysia. To involve different groups like government bodies, industry groups, builders, waste facilities, and environmental groups to understand waste management problems and possible solutions. And lastly, to give advice and help to decision makers, industry participants, and others to make waste management in Malaysia's construction sector more eco-friendly.
So moving on to the next topic of our assignment is the finding of this assignment. So there are many findings that we found in this assignment, and the first point of finding is the waste generation and recycling potential. The waste generation and recycling potential is divided by 2 points, which is housing sector and high-rise building construction. For the housing sector, the waste generated by the housing sector is approximately 16% of the gross material use, translating to about 8.8 million ton per year. About 32 of this waste, approximately 2.8 million ton per year, has the potential for use and recycling. The low recycling potential in this sector is attributed to the poor quality of the waste and the presence of contaminants. For the high-rise building construction, the sector generates more than 10 million tons of construction waste annually, representing about 70% of the total construction waste. There is a high potential for reusability and recycling in this sector. For the second point of finding is the environmental and the economic benefits. For the environmental protection, recycling reduces the demand for new resource. It minimizes transportation and production energy costs and prevent waste materials from ending up in landfills. The proper reuse and recycling can save energy and reduce CO2, which is carbon dioxide emissions, with recycled material often requiring less energy than those processed from virgin resource. For the waste management practice, which is the economic benefit, the study emphasized the need for coordination among all stakeholders in the planning, design, and construction processes to minimize waste due to the inappropriate handling. The adoption of waste recycling strategies can significantly reduce the environmental impact and the consumption of natural resources. For the third point of our finding is the institutional mechanisms and global comparison. For our institutional mechanism is Malaysia. So the country doesn't have complete system in place to enforce less waste and more recycling in the construction industry. So about 95 to 97% of all waste, including building waste, is thrown away with just 3 to 5% being processed or recycled. For the developed countries, the paper point outlaw and rule from countries like Japan, UK, and Germany that encourage recycling and managing waste. The developed countries are producing less waste because they are promoting green practices and managing waste more effectively.
In this slide, I will explain about challenges that we face on construction and demolition waste management. First, we have lack of public awareness and clear policies. Basically, lack of public awareness is because people do not have enough knowledge or understanding about construction and demolition waste management. And clear policies is refers to government that are poorly defined and not sufficiently detailed on the policies. Next, inadequate data on waste management and recycling practice. This issue refers to the lack of comprehensive and accurate information regarding the generation, composition, treatment, and disposal of waste within a specific region or jurisdiction. Next, cultural barrier and resistance to adopting new waste management technologies. In this slide, I will explain about recommendation. First recommendation is implementation of legal and economic instrument to guide construction professionals in waste reduction and recycling. Well, there is a two instrument, legal instrument and economic instrument, which is the legal instrument are regulatory frameworks, permitting and compliance, and incentive and rewards. But economic instrument is waste disposal fees, deposit refund system, and market-based mechanism. Why we suggest this recommendation? Because it can reducing waste generation and promoting recycling. It's also cost saving and social responsibility. Next recommendation is promotion of stakeholder coordination to improve waste handling and recycling process. This recommendation refer to government agency, construction industry, waste management waste management companies, and also community and resident. The important is to coordinate efforts, streamline waste handling process, and experience foster innovation in waste reduction. The benefit of this recommendation is it can enhance resource recovery, reduce environmental impact, and also save cost saving for our government.
Talk about methodology. The first of all, the methodology is empirical design and data collection. The study surveyed 179 people and involved in home building projects, and about half of them responded. Questionnaires were used to collect data on current recycling practices, issues faced, and things that help reduce waste. Next is case studies. 4 residential projects were investigated to determine real-time reuse and recycle rates. The projects include high-risk buildings and bungalows or terrace house located in Kuala Lumpur, Johor Bahru, and Perak. The last methodology is importance index factors. The study ranked 4 main factors for successful reuse and recycling using a 5-point scale. The Relative Importance Index (RI1) was used to analyze the importance of these factors. We go to statistical analysis, clusters analysis, used to identify homogeneous groups within construction projects based on waste reuse and recycling performance. It helped in understanding the specific needs and challenge for different project segments. For the last slide is conclusion. This conclusion is the study finds that there's a lot of room for reusing and recycling building waste in Malaysia. But there are some problems to solve. We need to put in place thorough waste management rules, improve how stakeholders work together, and make the public more aware. These are important steps to making building practices more sustainable. That's all from us. Thank you. Assalamualaikum.